I felt lost and confused and broken. I didn't know where I belonged to.
This is the squirrel's nest.
Squirrel's nest is called that because we're all nuts.
Squirrel's nest is a bunch of men having great fun playing with wood, plus other things. It's a place where people can come if they're struggling.
Not all sweetness and light all the time. I mean, they have their ups and downs.
They're only allowed 20 minutes in the morning to tell us all their ailments. And then after that, then we don't hear about it again.
And we will talk about anything and everything. No subject is taboo. We will talk about it. Usually over a cup of tea and some biscuits.
They can either drink coffee all day or they can do a bit of woodwork, and help each other out, basically.
The nest is part of the men's sheds movement, which provides men with an escape from the stresses and strains of life. But this shed is different.
It's called the men's shed, but it's not the men's shed. Women are welcome there, and they're very much part and parcel of the setup there.
As long as they behave themselves like in it, they're welcome here.
Put a lot of men to shame, to be honest with you. Bit of arse women, innit?
My name's Mandy Thomas, and I'm a photographer. I've been coming to the shed for about 10 years. The first time I took photos, and they were great. They're proper posers. I think they enjoy being photographed. This is Alan and Don, the founders of the Squirrel's Nest. These two are the shed.
Well, Don I met in the mental health unit in Bridgend.
It was somewhere that our counsellors and all the rest of them sent us to relieve the boredom of being at home alone. I went down in the car and I sat outside for over an hour, building up the confidence to actually go in.
We had an interest with each other because we were both engineers, we were both mechanics.
We had a workshop in TR and we started making things there. We had a tutor that came in and showed us what was what, how to use the lathes, etc.
It was a safe place for me then because of the mental health. I had near nervous breakdown I did, and it's just that it became a safe place.
But then we decided to build a new TR which didn't have a workshop.
We got it, to be honest with you. I'll tell you if I can explain that. Although we were still under psychiatrists, they said that we didn't need the workshop. We were more or less left to our own devices.
All the people that were in the workshop all want to stick together.
And that's really when the Squirrel's Nest was born, shall we say.
Oh, sorry, Tay. You all right, love? Okay. The nest started with 6 members, but it's grown and grown. Today, they're here in Bridgend with over 30 members. It's funded by grants, subs, and by selling what they make at the nest.
Well, prior to coming to Squirrel's Nest, I had very limited woodworking experience.
I am the world's worst woodworker.
I wouldn't say I'm a carpenter, I'm far, far short of that. But most of the time I achieve what I set out to do.
I'm always looking for projects and that, so I went on YouTube and I seen a chap on there from America and he's making cigar box guitars. And I thought, well, that's a good idea, something different,
People really did pick up on the instruments. It began with ukuleles, but it certainly didn't stop there. I would go across there and there'd be another instrument on the bench. It's a breeding ground for them.
It sounds okay, but it needs tuning and I can't tune it. Richard, the music teacher, he's going to learn me to play it.
What I love about photography is being around people, and I think making stuff is a great way of communicating, especially for these guys.
Men talk shoulder to shoulder rather than face to face. Don might say, "Oh, Alan, I've noticed you've been looking a bit down today, something on your mind." But whilst they're fixing this chainsaw and not looking at each other in the face, they're talking about important things.
But in March 2020, everything changed.
I think that's about one of the worst days we've ever had here, when we had to shut down because of this virus. There's so many people that come to the shed that need it.
Since the first lockdown, the nest has been closed to the members, including Elwyn, who's found the experience particularly difficult.
I was on my own for a long, long time. And I experienced a lot of difficulties after my wife died. And I don't want to elaborate on that, but I went through a pretty rough time. Without having attended a men's shed, I honestly don't know. I don't know whether or not I should be here. Not that I'd be stupid enough to do anything, but it made me want to take care of myself.
It was torture, just being alone. It was bringing it all back. And I don't know if people can understand what that's like.
You get a lot of members who come here and will tell you, if it wasn't for the squirrel's nest, they wouldn't be here. And that's the dark side of it.
With all the members now at home, it's only the trustees who are able to meet once a week at the shed to see if they can reopen. One of the trustees of the Squirrel's Nest is Rob Thomas.
My wife was diagnosed with cancer in 2018. The doctors told us that she was terminal. And to see someone that you love just every day just dying, basically, it's very, very difficult. 2 months' time then, unfortunately, she passed away. I was confused and didn't understand what was happening in my life. I live on my own. My wife loved her home, but it didn't feel like a home anymore when she wasn't here. If I went out, I needed to come back to the house, and when I was in the house I needed to get out, and I felt as though I didn't belong anywhere. I've got 2 wonderful children. I didn't want to be a burden to them because they were grieving their mother as well. You know, they were, it wouldn't be fair. I was offered to go to the Squirrel's Nest through Don. I said I'm not quite sure if it was for me, but I went along. Once I started taking those baby steps to the Squirrel's Nest, for, I don't know, maybe an hour after, I just felt that my life was starting to come back. It gave me strength to seek help and go forward, and I went to counselling then. It was almost a catalyst, seeking further help. So I'm quite a shy person and private person. I never thought that I would be able to go to counselling, but seeing, and as I said, that was a sort of the first step then.
Women, I think, have got it a lot easier than men, whereas they don't say that. No, women haven't got it a lot easier. What I mean is, men are less likely to access psychological therapies than women. only 36% of referrals to NHS talking therapies are for men, which is why the nest is so important.
I suppose the best description is that they have their cheeks of their backside so tightly clenched that nothing is ever going to come out.
Macho man. I am a big guy. I can take care of myself. I don't need to talk to anybody else. Well, they're wrong.
I think it's just men, isn't it? You know, they go down the pub and they have a bit of a banter. That's fine. But when you start talking about being lonely, you know, it's a difficult thing for men to talk about.
For a long, long time, I was classified as a loner. The Squirrel's nest was different. You could talk openly to people down there because they'd all had their problems, and there's nothing that you could say to them that would put them off.
Even in lockdown, we found a way to keep talking and have set up a WhatsApp group.
We've worked so hard with the people that are off now. We don't want them going back to where they were before.
It's the same on the WhatsApp. You can tell when someone, the way they're talking, that there's something wrong. So you just work it out with them. By the end of the day, you'll have them laughing. The things they put on that, it shouldn't be printed.
I've had to turn notification sounds off, though, because they start at 7 in the morning. Good morning, about 20 times from 20 people, and then same at the end of the night, good night.
As of today, the workshop has been closed to members for nearly a year. It's difficult because we don't know when things are going to go back to normal.
I live for the Squirrels. I got to be honest, I do everything for them.
There isn't anything like this anywhere. Yeah, we get some funding, but we don't get the help that I think we deserve.
Despite the odds, the movement is still growing. There are now over 70 sheds throughout Wales, 600 within the UK, and globally more than 1,800.
This should have happened years ago, you know, before all this. Like, we was the first men's shed in Wales. And it's gone from there. There's loads of others now.
I'm hoping that this allotment will be changed to like a men's shed concept.
Come along, find a shed close to you. Not every shed does woodwork like we do. There's a shed not far away from here, which I think do music.
If they want to have a chat, they can. If they want to make something, they can, and we'll help them make it.
It's been a difficult year, but I know these guys, and I'm looking forward to being back in the nest with them very soon.
It's just determination that keeps the shed going. If you've got people in the shed that are not worried about it, it's no good. You've got to stick with it. I'm still here.